Hey again, it's Jason from Fraser Valley Rose Farm. Well, I wonder if you've ever seen online or heard about a rose with some special feature like color or pattern that you wondered, is that for real? Like this one here. Obviously, a real world item, but the color isn't natural. It's a white rose that's been painted blue. And obviously with Photoshop, it's even easier to get effects like these. So I'm going to go through 10 features of roses that you may wonder, is it for real or is it fakery? And let's start with number one.
We start with the most obviously artificial of these fantastic roses, which has to be the rainbow colored rose. And if you want to see how it's done, you don't have to look very far. There are plenty of videos on YouTube that will show you exactly how they do it with paint or with dye. Unfortunately, some sources either unscrupulously or ignorantly claim these roses to be the real natural colors. There's no way, of course, that you'll get this color pattern from seed or by cuttings because roses just don't swing that way. They don't have that wide variation in color from petal to petal. Don't get me wrong, though, you can find roses that have some pretty interesting and almost hand-painted looking patterns. Like Regensburg, bred by Sam McGreedy in the 70s, has the look of something that was painted by hand. Also, About Face, for instance, has a darker reverse on the petal, which makes it look really interesting. And Bullseye has a color spot in the center that almost looks like it was painted on. Next up is number two. Let's look at the Tudor rose, a symbol of English royalty that appeared well after the War of the Roses. And I think it would be unfair to call this fakery because heraldic symbols like these were never meant to be taken seriously. Symbolically, the Tudor rose combined the red rose of Lancaster with the white rose of York, forming a rose with two rings of color, red on the outside and white on the inside. For a little more complete treatment of the rose as a symbol of royal houses, you can check my video on the Alba roses, which I'll link above. And if you are looking for the rose with the red on the outside and the white in the center, the best I can put forward is Double Delight, which is a beautiful rose with a wonderful scent and oh so photogenic. Moving on to number three on the list, rose breeders have been working on finding a blue rose for literally centuries, but the stumbling block is the genetics.
And behind me here, of course, is the autumn monkshood, which is from the buttercup family, along with delphinium, has that clear, true blue color that you'd be looking for. Nothing like that exists in a rose.
So the closest breeders have been able to come so far is to have roses that open a darker color and then fade through a color that looks like blue, like Vilchenblau, which is a most excellent rambler that does exactly that. Or, more recently, they've been able to breed roses that open up mauve and stay that way fairly color fast. Things like the most excellent Neptune, which has great garden vigor, or, like appears here, Applause. In the number four spot, let's talk about thornless rose. Well, they could say that every rose has its thorn, but actually thornless roses are a real thing and there are examples of them going back centuries. Even from my own garden, I can give you a few examples. Ghislaine de Feligonde, an excellent rambler in the apricot color. We have Sophie's Perpetual, which is a China damask with an excellent scent and no thorns at all. And Zéphyrin Draheen, the hot pink climber from the Bourbon class. Next up at number five, let's talk about a green-petaled rose. And in fact, this is another common subject for painting and dyeing of roses, but the green-petaled rose is a real thing and actually a little bit unusual. It's a rose that replaces genetically its petals with modified leaves. It's a rose called Rosa viridiflora and has been known in the trade for a couple of centuries. For number six, I'd like to show you the robin's pincushion, which is a funny, mossy, colorful structure that often grows either in the branches of roses or where the flowers should be. It's actually the result of a rose gall wasp. I've shown that off in another video recently. I'll link that above, but it is a very real thing and a very unusual feature of roses. For number seven, would you believe in a rose that can cover an entire city lot? Well, it's a real thing. In Tombstone, Arizona, this specimen has been opened up as a tourist attraction and is so large it has to be shored up with an intricate network of supports. It's the Lady Banks rose and quite a large specimen of it, although many other ramblers can rival this in size. I've never seen one quite this big. Moving on to number eight, since I've already told you that the rainbow colored rose and the true blue rose are definite products of artificial coloring, it'll come as no surprise to you now, looking at these pictures from eBay, that these seeds, sold as rare and unusual varieties, are complete frauds, mostly put together by Photoshop. I really hope you won't even dignify these frauds with an attempt to grow them, but if you ever did, most likely what you'll end up with is a white or red beach rose or rugosa rose from China. For number 9, I'd like you to look at the mossy covering you see on the epidermis of these roses. Does that look real to you? Well, in fact it is. It was a natural genetic variation that was found amongst the centifolia roses. For a while after discovery, breeders bred this feature into everything because they were quite interesting. And then just as quickly, within the next 50 years, it went out of fashion and nobody was breeding moss roses anymore. I still have a couple of them in my garden, including this excellent purple rose called William Lobb, and also the interesting Chapeau de Napoleon, or Napoleon's hat, with its highly crested flower buds. If you do get a chance to rub your fingers on the outside of this moss, you'll find that it's somewhat sticky, quite resinous, and smells somewhat between an evergreen tree and apples. And finally, in number 10, I thought since I disillusioned you of a few of the novelty rose colors in this video, I would end by highlighting a group I quite like, the brown, beige, and buff roses, which are really exceptional in the garden. I'll give you some examples here, which are like hot cocoa, which is classified a russet, or distant drums, which is actually classified a mauve, Coco Loco, which is very, very hot these days. Everybody wants one in their garden. Julia's Rose, as pictured here, and Buff Beauty, which has been around for a while, but I still find the color quite exceptional.
All right, that's the end of the list. And if you can think of any other cool but questionable features of roses, please leave those in the comments below the video and we'll go through those together and figure them out. Thanks so much for watching.